But one thing that I love to do after the conventions are over is to predict what state that went blue last time is more likely to go red, and what state that went red last time is most likely to go blue. So last time I said Minnesota and Arizona. Minnesota was within 10,000 votes, but it stayed blue. Arizona did switch. This year I'm predicting Nevada, though I think it's a coin flip. I think in the end it will go red just because of the unions and because of a lot of other issues. North Carolina is my prediction of the state that was red that's going to go blue. Trump only won by about 75,000 votes. And have you seen some of the nut jobs that are running? Have you seen Mark Robinson, the guy who's running for governor, or Michelle Malloy, who's running for superintendent of public education, who's called for the public execution of Obama? Robinson has called gay people filth. So Josh Stein, who's running as the Democrat, is 10 points up. So I think you're going to have a real spill down effect. And I think the down ballot candidates are going to benefit. So I think North Carolina goes blue, and that changes the whole dynamics of the race because it's the same number of votes, actually one more than Michigan has. What say you?
If I can say two, Georgia and Pennsylvania, I think, are ripe for the picking for Republicans. I was happy to see that Trump had mended fences with Governor Kemp in Georgia, and that Governor Kemp is planning to use his network for getting out the vote for Trump. So I think that's a real pickup possibility. Again, I think it partially hinges on the early voting mechanisms. And then in Pennsylvania, I think that, I mean, this is I joked that for every time that in the convention speech, JD Vance said Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, if I took a shot, I would be drunk. But that was, part of why they chose him was that they wanted to flip Pennsylvania. And when you hear things like Kamala Harris saying that she opposes fracking in a state that's heavily shale focused, that's really bad for her. So I think there's definitely potential for a pickup in both those states.
Well, she's changed her opinion on fracking as she should. But and I agree. We'll see if the fence mending with Kemp works. But that was another one. It was those unforced errors by Trump. But will you at least acknowledge how awful some of these candidates are in North Carolina? I mean, can you at least take a moment to I know you're not into criticizing any Republican, but can you at least acknowledge what a poor choice Mark Robinson is for gubernatorial candidate?
Well, what's interesting about him is that he gets the base really excited. And so when an election swings on turnout, it could really do a lot. I think in some ways he does remind me of and my goodness, why am I blanking on his name? The athlete who Trump endorsed in
Herschel
the Senate
Walker?
that I didn't agree with.
Herschel Walker?
He reminds me a little bit of Herschel Walker in the sense that, can be very fiery and motivate the base, but the risk is that you don't pull more people than your base. So yeah, I hear what you're saying, because I think that Robinson, I mean, and he is the lieutenant governor, so he's known, he's got the name ID. But I agree with you that it is more of a challenge to pull over more of the independent or right or not so far right leaning people.
Well, I think Herschel Walker was simply a buffoon, whereas Mark Robinson is just plain nasty, mean, and got every other adjective under the sun. So we'll see. But I think with a lot of the North Carolina coming more,
and I'm with you. I'm with you though.
Go ahead.
I'm with you though on North Carolina as far as a potential pickup for Democrats, because it was such a close margin in 2020 where Trump did eke out the victory, but you have a lot of people moving into North Carolina from other states, and they're liberal voters. So unfortunately, they are bringing some of their values with them, and they'll probably vote accordingly, even though they're fleeing states like California and Illinois. And it's like, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing and ruin a new state. But I think there's a chance they might do it.
Well, again, I think that that's a matter of opinion, because if you look at blue states, and there's a big difference between West Coast states and West Coast blue states and East Coast blue states, but the life expectancies are longer in blue states. The income per capita is higher in blue states. The education level is higher in blue states. So life in blue states is generally better. Not if you're wealthy, but for most people. So we'll see. But final thought: any state that went blue, that went red, that went blue, that could go red. Any other thoughts? So you have Pennsylvania, Georgia, and then North Carolina is your best bet for red that could go blue.
Yeah. And I agree with you. There's potential for Arizona and Nevada to go red as well.
Well, I think the one thing we agree on is that this election is a coin flip, and it's going to be down to the wire. And again, my advice to the Harris campaign is pretend like you're down by 10 points, and also don't forget, Trump has consistently in the last two elections has underpolled, right? So there's always a few people that either don't respond or say they're not going to vote for him that do vote for him. So I think you need to add maybe one more point on to that. So I think the Dems need to win this election by 3 or 4 points in the popular vote for it to be safe. But on that note, we're going to have to wrap it up. Good luck to both candidates. One thing it certainly won't be is dull. So that's it for this episode of Practically Political. As always, it's been great to have you. I'm Dave Spencer.
And I'm Carrie Sheffield. We'll catch you next time.